Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with next week's daily race track guide for race A and race C. Now this isn't 100% confirmed as the tracks and combinations, but I'm pretty sure, I'd say over 90% sure this is the combinations that will be out next week. So I've decided to do the track guides nice and early. So race C is pretty much a certain that it's going to be the Red Bull X 2019, as it is a GRX race at this track, and this is the new GRX car that has been added into the game. So it's almost a certain it's the 2019 Red Bull X that we're going to be competing in at this combination, probably replicating in a way the race that they did at the World Tour event. So we're going to do a track guide for this race C, and we're also going to do a race guide for race A, which is Goodwood, in what I believe will be the Clio V6 as a single make race. So I'm hoping this is all right. I'm pretty sure it will be. I wanted to get these track guides done as we haven't got these done. We've already got Suzuka guides out there for what is going to be race B in Group 3. So if you want to check that out, make sure you check it out, because it's going to be race A Goodwood in the V6, race B is going to be Suzuka in Group 3, and race C is the combination. We're going to go through a track guide now, and then after we've done this track guide, we're going to move on to the race A track guide. So let's start this track guide in the Red Bull X 2019. We're going to go for a hot lap, and I'm going to try and point out all the braking reference and tips to get the best out of this lap. So starting your lap flat out through this corner, you can see I'm already on the lap. This is I did 2 laps for this run, and quite consistent at this track. I feel like I've got some reasonable speed. So going over line there, we do a 23.329. Now this lap, we're going to go into the braking zone, braking just past the 100 board. You'll see we slow it down there. Just as we go past the 100 board, now you really want to use as much track width as possible. You see all that blue bit of track on the outside? We're going to use that down in second gear, and your right tyre is almost going to skim that gravel on the outside, but you've got to make sure you've got the turn in into the corner to clip your left front tyre onto apex and very early on the throttle, and an early upshift as well. Don't rev it out too much in second gear. It's better just to maybe a 3/4 shift in third and accelerate out the corner into this really fast left-hand corner. I love this corner. Down just about there, you hit the brakes. Down into third gear, you'll see, you're kind of coasting it through the corner. We go down into fourth, then third, and you're going to see trail braking and no acceleration. You're coasting through this corner through a lot of it, just letting the car go through there of its own momentum, and now you want to be swinging it in to the right hand side. So we're going to put a bit of throttle in to try and kick the rear out, and now chuck it into this right hand corner. A bit of braking input back into the brakes, and you see how we flick the rear out there, down into second gear, and we're going to early upshift into third there again. This is to get more momentum out of the corner, because second gear will become a little bit loose. This 2019 model doesn't have the downforce of the other models, so you have to be a little bit more cautious on acceleration as we now approach this really nice left-hand corner. Very tricky corner, probably one of the trickier corners on the track. You're going to downshift there with the braking inputs in there, down into third gear, and try and hug as close to this apex as possible, but a very early upshift is needed. You see, back on the power there, and we're going to upshift to fourth gear just to try and stop again the rear kicking out, and you end up carrying more speed out the corner doing that. So not a bad way through that corner. At this point, we're not actually beating our Ghost. You see the Ghost is actually ahead there, so there's a lot more potential with this lap than what we're getting out of it at the moment, but I'm sure we'll do that as the week goes on, as we go into the braking point again. Just on the 100, almost dead on the 100 board there for this corner, and you're going to really downshift aggressive. You've got to go through these gears really fast. Look how fast we downshift there into first gear, and again using the full track width, we want to square this corner off as much as possible to get maximum momentum out of the corner. You'll see there already back on the throttle. You'll see that throttle inputs going in very early on the corner, and we're just being very gentle, feathering it through, and then maximum throttle out of the corner, up the gears, all the way through the gears now into this really fast aggressive part of the track. I do love this section through the gears, staying in sixth gear. You're going to see now this is flat out. Do not lift through this corner, just judge the turning perfectly to get as close to the barrier as possible, and keep that throttle 100% planted all the way to the outside track, hitting 170 miles an hour as you come out the corner. And now again we're going to brake really aggressive just before the 100 board I do for this final left hand corner, this really tight braking zone, which is very similar to the previous corner we did, but if you brake a little bit earlier, and down into first gear. And again you're going to square the corner off, but you really need to be a bit more patient on the throttle on this corner, because it's a slightly more severe angle through there. You see it's a little less room to get on the throttle. You have to be careful again you don't lose the rear. We do that really nicely and actually gain a bit of time over the go. So that is the corner that really gave me the better lap, as we then go flat out through the final corner. No need to lift, and down the straight to complete the lap, and only just ahead of the Ghost, but there is definitely another 10th or 2 left in this. I think we may be able to squeeze a 22 by the end of the week, but obviously the really fast drivers are probably in the 22s, but for myself, I think it may be pushing it a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see how we get along for the week, but we're going to have a little look at the lap now. Again, look how much we widen that track into the corner there as we watch from the chase camera to really show you how you've got to really excel on using as much track as possible. Again, we're kicking over to the right hand side, using the curb as we enter, clipping the apex really nicely. Again there, onto the apex for this corner, that early upshift to get my maximum momentum out of the corner, and then this really, again, this is such a tricky corner. You see I slightly missed this apex, you see there was a couple of feet there that we had to play with, so maybe there's a 10th or 2, maybe a 10th, half 10th, 10th, something like that on that corner we're lacking in terms of getting maximum momentum down this straight and into the really just watch how fast we brake and downshift here now. You've got to be so quick. Look at that, down into first gear within the space of a second or so, and then again onto that throttle as early as possible and working our way into this really aggressive section. And just watch the speed we carry through here. Maximum attack, clipping that apex perfectly there, which then sends us into this apex. And again, just look at the downshift, and you've got to be so aggressive on that downshifting to get the most out of this car around here. It's all about aggressive downshifting in the braking zones, and then really being cautious on the throttle, because like I say, this car does not have the downforce that the older model, the 2014, has, so you have to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to getting on the throttle as we go over the line with a reasonable 1 minute 23.2, and like I say, we may be able to squeeze that into a 23.0 or 22.9, something like that, but it's going to require an amazing lap, because even though the track's quite long, there's not a massive amount of corners to make that much time up on. I think top 10 stars, I think that a 23.0 might stay in the top 10 for quite a few days. If I did this lap tomorrow, I think I'll be in the top 10 stars for at least a day or two, because I think it's going to be very hard to really get half second faster than what I've done here, but we'll see as we watch this lap in full speed now as we just take it through the course. I'll let this play out without any commentary before we run onto the Clio V6 lap, so just enjoy the sound of this car now. Okay, so that lap is complete. So let's move on now to the Clio V6 lap at Goodwood. A very nice combination again. I really enjoy driving this car around there. I do enjoy this Clio V6, so much fun to throw around, really entertaining car, and it does actually suit this track again. One concern I have is for this race A is it's going to be on weak slipstream, so with the nature of this track, it's going to be very difficult to break the slipstream pretty much from any type of driver that's close to you in skill level, because as long as they can stay within a second of you, they're just going to get so much slipstream, and it's going to bring them straight back up to the rear of your car. As you see they're throwing it around the track on this replay camera. I really do enjoy driving this car, so we're going to run through a track guide, try and point out some of the zones that can get you more time out of the car, some of the ways you've got to be aggressive on the corners. This track is very much about, in this car, really attacking the corners, bouncing over the curbs, getting your half the car on the grass, and just as much angle out of the corners as possible, and taking as much off the corners you can get away with. That is what this is going to be about in terms of qualifying time. I've done a reasonable lap. I think there is more potential in this. Like I say, road cars are not my biggest strength, but I really enjoy driving the Clio, so I want to be doing this when it comes to tomorrow on race A. So when we're on our other account, we're going to probably do this race as well, and probably race B, so it's going to be an interesting week being able to race every single combination that's on there again. And so quite an enjoyable week. I'm going to be doing all races, probably the Clio one quite a bit as well as we start this lap. And going into turn one, you have to be so aggressive. Just watch how we do this now, chucking it in, and we're going to just chuck this car into the right And you'll notice how we've done a number of laps already, and I'm going to explain why as we go through this corner now. Watch the bite on the front tyres. It really bites in, and you want to be clipping this apex just there. And we're going to take half the car almost, probably more than that, just keeping the left-hand tyres vaguely on that white line on the outside, and keep the right-hand tyres on that grass, and just keep your throttle down. It will grip nice, and it really bites into the tarmac as you get back on the power and carry maximum momentum around that corner. And this is one of the reasons why we've done multiple laps, because lap 1, it doesn't seem to have the tyre temperatures on the fronts. By lap 2 and 3, you seem to have a lot better front end. So that's why I would advise trying to do multiple laps on this combination, because I think it's going to help in terms of your lap time as we now come through to the next major braking zone. Just getting the braking inputs in there just before we throw it into this corner. Again, we want to be over that curb with the right hand tyre. You'll see bouncing over the curb onto the grass with the right hand tyre, really aggressive through these corners. It really does help. And just off the throttle now, just letting the car just bring itself back into line to attack the next left hand corner. So it's all about getting on the brakes nice and early there, you see, on the brakes, and just being cautious, trying to get this left-hand tyre now over the curb and onto the grass so that you can put the power down all the way through this corner. So what you'll see now is we're going to start feeding that power in, maximum power now. We've got the grip there. I have faith that the car's not going to run wide, and we carry really good exit speed from that corner and now into a very, very tricky right-hand corner, which you have to be very early on the brakes. On the brakes already, and we're going to try and skim the right hand tyre over that curb again. This is so important to do, is bouncing the car over that curb onto the grass and getting on the throttle as early as possible. Now be very cautious when we come to this corner, because if you brake late, you end up just going off onto the grass. So really important to get the braking done at the right time there, nice and early, as we try and carry maximum momentum out of that corner. And one thing I will point out with this car is every gear shift, you'll notice that I'm slightly lifting off the throttle every time I change gear. It does tend to help this car out. I found that it was gaining me probably a tenth or two over the lap, so make sure you do that. It will gain you a little bit of time. Just a brief little lift off every single gear shift will just give you a bit more momentum down the straight as we go into the next braking zone. And again, we're going to brake just off that tarmac on the left there, nice and early, down into fourth gear, and you'll see, well, let's stay in fourth gear for a little bit before going into third gear, then into third gear. And you want to clip each part of the apex on this corner. It's like a multiple corner, so I really enjoy this final corner. So the first apex we've hit, and then you're lining up for this second apex there, trying to get it nice and tight to that right hand side, and on the power as early as possible as you come out the corner. You'll see we're on maximum power now, and then we're going into this very, very tricky final chicane. Now this is all about how brave you can be. I could have braked a little bit later, but I kind of like to brake a little bit earlier, so that then you don't have to put so much braking nearer to the corner, because it can unsettle the rotation of the car. And now you want to be as close to the right hand, that little barrier there with your right hand tyre, and then throwing it into this left hand corner, just skimming it. Maybe add a little bit more space to throw it in there as we run a little bit wide, but we carry so much speed out of that corner that really helps the lap time. And we're going to go over the line on a 1:27.9, which is actually a reasonable lap. I think that you'll see low 27s by the end of the week on this, though, because I'm not the best with road cars, maybe even faster, because like I say, I think I don't excel with these, but I think it's a combination where I might try and push a little bit more as the week goes on as well, because I do enjoy driving the Clio V6, such an entertaining car. As we watch the lap from the chase camera, you can really see just how much we're attacking these corners on that previous corner, just how much of the curb we're bouncing over. And you'll see again into these corners what I'm talking about in terms of getting your car over on the grass as we go in now. You'll see bouncing it over the curb and using that grass, and again chucking the rotation of the car, really being early on the brake to get that rotation sorted on the car, so that you're not sliding through that corner, because if you start sliding, you're losing the speed, the tyres bog down, and you just don't get as much acceleration out of the corner. And again, onto that curb, you saw the dust kicking up, so it pretty much sorted. Them corners were done really nice section there that we did to give maximum speed up this hill. And again, you will see the little lift off the throttle every time I change gear, just to get a bit more speed out of this car. And it does actually work with this one. I've worked out, I have tested it against the Ghost, and it was a definite improvement in terms of every gear shift was a little bit better. And again, through this final corner, you see that multiple apex corner. I really do enjoy this, the way you have to clip all parts of the apex. And then let's just have a little look, how close did we actually get to that wall? Very close there, and we left a bit of space on that second wall, so we could have got a little bit closer. So maybe another half tenth to a tenth on that final corner still to be gained. So I'll leave this now played at full speed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know in the comment section if it's helped you out, and I wanted to get this out early, so I hope you appreciate getting this out before it's even out on tomorrow. So everyone should have the perfect guides for race A, B and C, because B is already done. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click that notification button, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks again, everyone.